By the end of this year, there will be about 40 trillion gigabytes of data created. The trick is to leverage the full power of all that information to do amazing things. Data has taken us to the furthest reaches of our solar system. It helps us defend against microscopic threats. It removes barriers and creates deeper connections. As your data grows, so does your opportunity. But you need it to be secure, efficiently stored and managed, yet still easily accessible wherever you need it. Pure Agile Data Services puts your success at the focus of every decision we make. We provide the agility you need to move quickly, choice in how you use the cloud, and ways to reduce costs while protecting your data. We focus on your data so you don't have to. PureStorage, delivering the modern data experience.
Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Prakash Darji. I'm the General Manager of the FlashArray Business Unit at PureStorage. And today, I'm here to talk to you about how we're simplifying everything with modern data infrastructures. But if you think about it, what is a modern data infrastructure? Well, I had the benefit of my daughter turning 10 this weekend, so when we were celebrating her birthday, I decided to ask her, because who better to tell you than a 10-year-old? And she looks at me like a 10-year-old would and be like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you a different question, right? In your 10 years of life, what have you achieved? And she looks back at me like I think a 10-year-old would and says, well, I'm only 10. I've learned a lot. And I was like, such as? And she's like, I've learned how to learn. And I thought that was really insightful for a 10-year-old. She's learned how to learn. And then I come back to thinking, well, Pure's roughly about 10 years old, a little older than 10 years now. We're probably in our 11th year of business now. But Pure's been modernizing infrastructure for about 10 years, right? That's what people think about when they hear Pure. And I'm like, what have we learned over 10 years? Well, the first thing we've learned is a modern data infrastructure is very relevant to the challenges in the world today. In the world we live in, people just want what they want and they want it to work. It's a very simple world. So simple is king, something that has continuous innovation that never ages, the ability to continually get work done. Everyone has to do more with less. Because if you take a look at the world today, there's a pandemic, there's civil unrest, less face-to-face human interaction. That's the world we live in. And for the next 10 years, you just want modern infrastructure to work simply and stay current. Now, we've learned that to do so, trust is key. And trust is earned. With my daughter, we had a nice bike ride over the weekend. And I asked her, I'm like, now that you're 10, do we need to recalibrate? Do you need to make more decisions on your own about certain things in your life? Let's have the empowerment discussion. Why? Because I trust her. She's earned it over the last decade. And over the last decade, Pure has been modernizing infrastructure. And we've earned our customers' trusts. But our customers, as we listen, because we still continually learn, have told us that they have problems that are yet to be solved. So we've listened and internalized that. If I rewind, what have we done to modernize data infrastructure over 10 years? We introduced the first all-flash systems based on consumer-grade all-flash. We've brought it to the enterprise. We've introduced Active Cluster for data protection. We allowed customers to consolidate DAS workloads with NVMe over Fabric, Direct Flash Fabric. Now with VMware and Cisco support, we've added Direct Memory Module for ultra-low latency performance. We've brought this goodness to Tier 2 low performance requirements with FlashArray//C for different price performance ratios. Customers needed this efficiency in the public cloud, so we introduced Cloud Block Store with AWS last year. And earlier this year, even on Azure, we launched a public beta. But listening to customers, we realized that they wanted more. They demanded more from Pure. Why? Because they trust us. So now we're introducing two new capabilities: ActiveDR for geo-distance replication and File. Now, the File protocol support is unified block and file. Why we're doing it is so customers can run both workloads together. They have requirements to do more with less. And by bringing this capability out to market, we're helping customers solve their problems and doing more with less. Now, how do we do it? The first thing is never compromise on the integrity and the core of who you are. The core of PureStorage is that all innovative enhancements be available in a truly non-disruptive upgrade. No downtime, no forklift upgrades, no data migrations. We want to do innovation right. Now, what is right to us? It means keep the customer at the center of everything we do. To keep the customer at the center, you need to first focus on the user experience. How do customers consume the modern data infrastructure? When we introduced our Cloud Block Store, we unified the consumption experience between your on-premises world and the public cloud with Cloud Block Store. We used Pure One to provide a single consistent management and monitoring experience. And when we introduced file services, we didn't reinvent the management, the monitoring experience, the APIs. We actually leveraged what we had for FlashBlade. So now customers have a single API, a single management experience, a single monitoring experience for file services across low latency scale-out and FlashArray files and high-performance scale-out file and object with FlashBlade. All based on our principles. Evergreen. Non-disruptive upgrades. We've had over 17 releases of FlashArray over 10 years. All available to customers. No compromise in data integrity or reliability, no compromise in security, no compromise on our proven 6 nines promise. We never compromise on the disruptive upgrade. No forklift upgrades, no data migrations. And frankly, this is not future promises. This is past delivered. And as we introduce these new capabilities, they're both available via Evergreen, both ActiveDR and FlashArray file services. Now, FlashArray file services, interestingly, has its origins in an acquisition we did last April in a company called CompAverred, an industry leader in file services. Frankly, that company has been in business longer than FlashArray maturing a file protocol stack. But as a general manager, I had this interesting decision point. We had, as Pure, to decide whether we were going to do the quick and easy thing that you do with an acquisition. You now have block on one side, and do we layer this file protocol capability on top? It'd be easy to sell. We could go to market right away. But we couldn't do it because of the integrity. We chose the right path, keeping customers at the center, and we stayed true to our ideals. A natively integrated feature rather than another layer to manage. This is not a file system sitting on top of a volume. So as we decided to natively integrate, we ensured that we brought the data reduction capabilities to the entire file environment. So file is a first-class object in Purity. And we have global deduplication across the block and file world. Frankly, by leveraging the APIs and management and monitoring between FA and FB, customers now can scale the gamut of use cases, from general purpose file shares to high performance applications. FlashBlade engineers have done an incredible job continuing to innovate in fast file and object. And you can listen to Matt Burr talk about fast file and object in his other Accelerate keynote. But FlashBlade 3.0 brings file-level replication to fast file and object. It's amazing for high-performance scale-out analytics. And now customers have both low-latency unified block and file and high-performance scale-out file and object. They can start anywhere and go anywhere. Why? Because the API and the automation is the same. So a little bit about Purity 6. With file, you get a shared storage pool for block and file. You get global deduplication and compression. You get directory snapshots. And you get multi-protocol access, all versions of SMB and NFS. But we're not done. We've been listening to customers, and we've learned a lot over 10 years. And we continue with our enormous pace of innovation to continue delivering on what customers need of us. In the world we live in the reality that they have, doing more with less, simplicity at its core, non-disruptive, capabilities always aware. We've learned over 10 years, but we're going to continue learning. In the next 10 years, my daughter will be 20. She'll continue learning. And I look forward to the decisions she makes, and I look to ask her in 10 years, what has she achieved? Because frankly, learning to learn and never stopping to learn is a great achievement in and of itself. We solve problems based on our principles. Our principles are grounded in the integrity based on the trust that customers have given us. I'm proud that over this entire generation, we've kept to those ideals. In an industry where, frankly, I'm disappointed by aging infrastructure, terrible vendor experiences, we need to stand up and allow customers to focus on the things that are important to them, getting more work done in a simple, consumable, easy way with no disruption. So I'd ask, 1, rethink your refresh. 2, demand more from your vendors, and never stop learning. I'm humbled to learn every day from my daughter as well as customers. Because in this day and age, you have to stand up for what you believe in. You have to keep your principles true. And I'm proud at what PureStorage has learned, and I'm even more proud at what we're going to be able to do for you, modernizing data infrastructures for the next 10 years. Thank you for taking your time